So today we are going to be factoring trinomials when a is greater than 1. And just as a reminder, a is the quadratic coefficient. It's the number that is right in front of x squared. So when that is greater than 1, we have to follow a different set of steps. And this set of steps is what we call factor by grouping. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you a few examples on how to factor by grouping. So step number 1 asks us to multiply the quadratic coefficient and the constant. So in our first example, the quadratic coefficient is 3 and the constant is -5. So we're going to do 3 times -5, which gives us -15. Okay, step number 2 asks us to find the factor pairs of the product found in step 1. So the factor pairs of -15 are 1 times -15, -1 times +15, 3 times -5, and -3 times +5. Okay, step number 3 asks us to add all of the factor pairs. So when we add them, 1 plus -15 is -14. -1 plus +15 is +14. 3 plus -5 is -2. And -3 plus +5 is +2. Okay, step number 4 asks us to find the factor pair that adds to the linear coefficient. In our problem, -2 is the linear coefficient. So this is the factor pair that adds to -2. Okay, step number 5 asks us to rewrite this new polynomial as x squared plus f1 plus f2 plus c. And in this case, f1 plus f2 are meant to be the factors, right? So the factors that we found. And in this case, those factors are 3 and -5. Okay, so to show you an example of what I mean by this, we're going to keep 3x squared and -5 as from the problem initially, okay? So the 3x squared and the -5 didn't change at all. The only thing that's going to change is the -2x. And in this case, it's going to change like so. So 3 is going to be plus 3x. And then -5 is going to be minus 5x. So now we've just rewritten the linear coefficient as 3x minus 5x, which is fine because 3x minus 5x is -2x. We're just rewriting it a little different. And there's a reason for that. So let's go to step number 6. It says factor the first 2 terms and the second 2 terms. So that wants us to factor these separately. So first, take the first 2 terms, 3x squared plus 3x. And we want to factor something out of this. So we're going to factor out the GCF here. In this case, both terms have a 3, and both terms have an x. So when we factor out 3x, we know 3 times 1 will give us 3, and x times x will bring us back to x squared. Plus 3 times 1 will bring us back to 3, and x times 1 will bring us back to x, so we don't need another x. So we're done there. We're going to do the same thing with the second 2 terms. -5x minus 5. In this case, both terms have a -5, but they do not both have an x. So we're only going to factor out the -5. And -5 times x will bring us back to negative 5x, and negative 5 times positive 1 will bring us back to negative 5. And what's really important to notice here is that what we got in the parentheses of both pieces are the exact same. X plus 1 or 1x plus 1, either way, it is the same thing. So x plus 1 is going to be our first factor. And then we're going to take what the GCF of each, and that's going to be our second factor. So 3x minus 5. And that is essentially what step 7 was asking us. It was asking us to rewrite the polynomial as the product of two binomials. Here are two binomials, and we are multiplying them. Okay? So that is how you factor a trinomial by grouping when a is greater than 1. Let's see a few more examples of this. Okay, in example 2, 2 is a, so 2 times positive 5 equals 10. The factor pairs of 10 are 1 times 10, negative 1 times negative 10, 2 times 5, and negative 2 times negative 5. And you add them all up, you're going to get 11, negative 11, 7, and negative 7. And we're looking for 11, so the first set of factor pairs is what we're looking for. Okay, and I'm going to bring 2x squared and plus 5, just like before. But now I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to put 10 first this time. So plus 10x plus 1x. All right, and now let's focus on the 2x squared plus 10x first. The GCF of 2 and 10 is 2. That's the greatest common factor of 2 and 10 is 2. And they both have an x. 2 times 1 will bring us back to 2. And x times x will bring us to x squared. Plus 2 times 5 will bring us to 10. And we don't need to put an x on this one. Right now, let's focus on 1. So the plus 1x plus 5. The GCF of 1 and 5 is just 1. So we're going to do plus 1. We can't factor out an x because 5 doesn't have an x. So 1 times x plus 5 will give us x plus 5. Again, what's in the parentheses are equal, which is exactly what we need. So we get x plus 5 from that. And then we bring these two terms, 2x and plus 1. And that is our answer. All right, and last example. So in this case, this is going to be a little bit different because before we even get started on this one, I'm noticing that all three terms have a GCF. They have a greatest common factor because 3 can be multiplied to get every single one of them. In this case, it would be 3 times 5. This would be 3 times negative 9. And this would be 3 times negative 2. So we're going to factor out that 3 and rewrite this as 5x squared minus 9x minus 2. And now we're going to factor what's in the parentheses by grouping. So we got 5 times -2 equals -10. The factor pairs of -10 are 1 times -10, -1 times +10, 2 times -5, -2 times +5. We're going to add those together, and we're going to get 1 plus -10, we're going to get -9, +9, -3, and +3. In this case, we're looking for -9, so the first set of factor pairs is what we're looking for. So now I'm going to rewrite what's in the parentheses as 5x squared minus 10x squared plus 1x, sorry, that shouldn't have been a squared, minus 10x plus 1x minus 2. And the plus, the 5x squared and the minus 2 just came from the original. Okay, now let's factor each pair. So factor the first two pieces first. Start with 5x squared minus 10x. Well, 5 is a factor of both terms, and so is x. So 5 times 1 will bring us back to 5, and x times x will bring us back to x squared. 5 times -2 will bring us back to -10, and we don't need an x here. So we got 5x times 1x minus 2. Okay, and now we're going to focus on plus 1x minus 2. The greatest common factor of 1x and -2 is just going to be 1. And 1 times 1 is 1, but I need x. 1 times -2 is -2. Again, what's in the parentheses is the same, which is what we need to happen. So we get 1x minus 2. You don't need to write the 1 if you don't want to. We have 5x plus 1. And try not to forget about the 3 from the beginning. So bring that back in. Sorry, 3. And now 3 times x minus 2 times 5x plus 1 is your final answer. And that is factor by grouping.